How's it going, YouTube? Yeah, Pat Mac here. Bringing you a different kind of video. We're looking at power rankings for the Masters of Sword and Shield. This is a new, completely new format. I don't think I've seen any league or anything really do a format like this. So just to kind of chat about the format before we really get into looking at the teams. The format is a dual format, so teams are, like, our coaches are prepping for both singles games and doubles games every week. On odd numbered weeks, so 1, 3, 5, and 7, coaches will play a singles game, then a doubles game, and then play a doubles game as a tiebreaker. And then on weeks 2, 4, 6, and 8, those even weeks, they'll play a doubles game, a singles game, and then a singles game as a tiebreaker. So they're building Pokemon that are supposed to be able to work in both formats. And so there's a lot of different interesting ideas about, like, how are you going to build those Pokemon? Are you going to try to build Pokemon that are specific to the singles format or specific to the doubles format? Or are you going to try to build Pokemon with moves that work in both of them and kind of split your difference? So I don't know. It's a very interesting format, a very interesting season. And I'm really excited to see how this one goes. Oh, and the other part of this is always 4v4. So coaches are going to bring 6 to team preview, and they're going to choose 4 to battle. 4 for the singles and 4 for the doubles. So a very interesting take on like a combo dual format season. So it should be pretty excited. I'm really looking forward to it. How are you feeling about it, Doc?
Hello, I'm Cyber Saber, Mr. Marshadow, whatever you want to call me. I'm going to be joining Pat Mac for the PRs today. I don't think I have anything else to add about the format. I'm really excited to see these teams. I'll wait, and hopefully if we do this again, we can get tiers that are better. I don't know how Jake the tiers are, but I guess we'll see. The season continues. Yeah, but I don't think I have anything else to say, so let's get started. Oh, and one last thing, we are going to be going in draft order, so...
Yeah, so the first team we'll look at is the first team that drafted, and then like slides in terms of what the teams look like. In fact, let's just go and take a look at the first team, and then we can chat about it. So the first team you can see here is the Shadow Ducks. Dragapult was their first pick, and then going across the top is their picks in order. So they picked Togekiss second, and then Torracat was their 5th pick, and then Pikachu was their very last pick. So just kind of get a sense for all of you that are watching about how the teams look, their draft order, how the coaches decided. And of course, this team has the wheel pick being first, so they picked essentially Togekiss and Urshifu at the same time, and Thwackey and Torracat at the same time, and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, Cyber Saber, you want to chat about this team? What are your thoughts about it?
Is there an item clause? Do we have an item clause?
Yes, we do have an item clause. Yeah, so that's another thing, is we have a lot of the kind of common singles clauses, so like Oko clause and different clause, abilities banned, and I forget all of them. But yeah, item clause is definitely part of this too.
So they have 3 NFEs with Thwackey, Torracat, and Pikachu, so they're all really good NFEs. Well, Pikachu not so much, but they are going to want to hold the Violite, so that's interesting. We'll see how they manage with that. First thing I noticed is Dragapult is excellent in both singles and doubles. It has its multi-hit move with Dragon Darts. It can Dragon Dance in singles. It can Dragon Dance in doubles even. Phantom Force is fantastic in doubles, not so much in singles. Thing is that usually in doubles you'll run a physical set, and in singles you'll usually run a special set, so we'll see how they do with that. Togekiss is fantastic in both, but for different reasons. It has Follow Me in doubles, and it has its more offensive Air Slash flinch set in singles. So again, all the Pokemon I see are pretty good in both singles and doubles, but for different reasons, so I'm a little worried about that. Mawile is just... Torracat is fantastic in doubles for Intimidate, and it's in singles I wouldn't really use it. It does have Fox with Runerigus. I almost call it Coffagrigus, but it is not. And Colossal. So it has that. It has Defog with Togekiss. has, yeah, main thing I'm worried about with this team is just having a good balance of singles and doubles on the same team. What do you think, Pat Mac?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because there are some Pokemon that like you see them as kind of being single format all stars. So like Torracat is like amazing in doubles. I think it's a really good Pokemon. And then you have like, I don't know,
Snorlax, which is a singles monster.
Yeah, I mean it's fairly good in doubles too, but for kind of a different reason. I guess like you could bring like a curse setup Snorlax for either format.
Or Belly Drum.
Yeah, Belly Drum could be something too. But I think Belly Drum you'd probably rather use it in the doubles format so that you can get Trick Room set up by someone. But yeah, I like that this team has speed control on both sides. So like that's something that you kind of care about from both formats. So like because we're using home movesets, Togekiss has Tailwind, so like that's a speed control option on that side. There's several Trick Room Pokemon on the team, which is really nice here too. Yeah, I mean like, I don't know. I think the team is pretty solid. I agree with you on the Eviolite. Maybe issue. It just kind of depends on how the Shadow Ducks decide to use their Eviolite. But I do kind of feel like it gives like
Pikachu's
some...
not a problem because Pikachu will run Light Ball, and if it's not running Light Ball, you're doing something wrong. Thwackey, I guess, could run Choice Band your Life for, but it does want the Eviolite. It is the best item for it, but...
Yeah, no, I agree with those ideas too. Like, I think there is some flexibility, but I think that the Eviolite like really helps to kind of keep these Pokemon like have longevity, you know?
Yeah.
If we're looking at like a...
Yeah, another item that can be a problem is the leftovers, because Snorlax is going to want it, and Reneragus is going to want it, and Togekiss might want it, and Hatterene might want it. So...
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's all different team building stuff and different choices that they can make. But I don't know. I think overall the team is
always
cool.
a problem with item clause. Leftovers is always a problem with item clause. So
yeah, definitely. But that's why like many singles leagues don't run item clause. But because we're looking at doubles also, and doubles is almost always with an item clause, we have it for this season. So should be pretty interesting. But this is just the first team that we get to take a look at. So let's go and take a look at the second team as well that drafted right after them. And it's the LA Infernapes. So I personally think this team is pretty solid. I think they have quite a few different modes here. They have Trick Room as an option. They have like Tailwind as an option from either like Prankster Cottony or from Tornadus Therian. I think if I remember right, the Galvantula also has speed swap, so they have some kind of cool speed swap ideas that they can do on Galvantula, which is kind of nice. But their team has a lot of bulk. Like Milotic is very bulky, Goodra is really bulky, Rhyperior is bulky, at least from a physical side of things. Yeah, so they have some like really hard hitting Pokemon and some really bulky mons. I like that they have like very defined roles. So like I think building with this team is going to be fairly easy. Like the Urshifu is probably going to be like Choice Band or Sash or Scarf or something like that. And I think kind of same with Blacephalon, it'll be like Scarf or Specs or maybe Sash or something like that. So that these Pokemon just like hit really hard. And then kind of the rest of the team is going to be there to deal a little bit of damage to get things chipped, and then to also be like really solid switch-ins. So that's one thing that I think is kind of cool about this team, is it feels like there's very defined roles and solid fast and slow modes, which are important for doubles games. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree with that. First of all, who let Tornadus Therian get to round 5?
Yeah, kind of crazy. It's a really good mon. It's not as popular in doubles games, but it's very like it's one of the top mons in singles.
Honestly, I would draft it just for its singles viability, just because it's so good in singles. I would draft it even though it's not quite as good in doubles.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a round 2-3 mon in my opinion, but what do I know?
It's a hella new format, right? Nobody knows what's going on here. That's part of the season, is to get a feel for it and see how it goes. So, any other thoughts on the team?
I think is that Milotic really bulky, as you said, with Lightning Rod Rhyperior, gonna be even better. Yeah, like this more than the last team is that all Pokemon do have defined rules. Those defined rules for both singles and doubles are basically the same. Like Cottony will use its Prankster to do stuff. Urshifu will just break. Milotic will sit and be Milotic. So yeah, I really like that. And just Trevenant too.
I think Trevenant is kind of more of an offensive Trick Room mon. Like, it doesn't have amazing bulk, but it has like fairly good offense, from what I remember. So it's just another Trick Room setter, I think, aside from the Bronzong.
Sure.
So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, 110 attack. So yeah, I guess just
solid.
Put in Trick Room and just spam Poltergeist, I guess.
I think it has like Horn Leech and Train Punch too, so it's got some recovery from that side of things, as well as like you could do some harvest sets and recover like citrus berries or I played against a Trevenant set that was running like Endure Custap Berry with harvest. That was pretty sweet.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
yeah, it was really cool.
But one problem that this team might have is it is weak to knockoff. It has 2 ghosts, a psychic. If Urshifu the choice item, it doesn't want to get knocked off. It's if Milotic doesn't want to get leftovers knocked off. Hyperior probably doesn't want to get its item knocked off. Tornadus does not want to get its heavy duty boots knocked off. So that is something to keep in mind.
Yeah, potentially. Although, like, a Flame Worm Milotic wouldn't care about a knockoff. And I kind of wonder about, like, you mentioned heavy-duty boots for Tornadus. I wonder about how important hazards are going to be in this format because it is 4v4 and because Team Pokemon are being built for both singles and doubles games. Is that, obviously, hazards are really nice for singles, but you almost never see hazards in doubles games. So there's kind of a question of how important are hazards going to be for coaches, and that's going to be a choice that coaches are going to make throughout the season. Is like, do you look at this team and look at like the Tornadus and the Blacephalon and like the Galvantula, that are weak to rocks, and you go like, okay, I really want to bring rocks because it's going to be really nice against these Pokemon that try to switch in. Or do you just like forego it because you don't want to waste the move slot for a doubles game? So I don't know. That's going to be a very interesting idea.
Another thing is, are people going to bring heavy duty boots and defog and rapid spin?
Yeah, that's the same kind of question. Yeah.
That's like, for this team, I feel like Tornadus will probably run defog just because you do have a lot of Pokemon that don't want to take the rocks damage. But there are other teams where I could see them saying, "Oh, nah, it doesn't really matter. Don't want to waste the move slot if they don't bring it, and if they do, it doesn't really affect me."
Yeah, like I'll play around it kind of thing. I don't know, it's going to be an interesting choice, but like I agree with your thought process on like there are a couple of Pokemon here that are weak to rocks and don't necessarily want to switch in on that and take that damage. And that's actually kind of a question of like, will teams bring stealth rocks for doubles games, and will we see that kind of play style evolve throughout the season? I don't know, it's going to be very interesting.
Because 4v4, will people have a bench warmer rock setter just for singles? Like, last time we saw, will they bring the Runerigus with Stealth Rock and Spikes just to use for the singles match?
Yeah.
Toxic Spikes, because it doesn't get Spikes, but...
Yeah, I don't know, it's just, there's questions that people are going to have to answer throughout the season, and that's definitely one of them. So, all right, let's go and take a look at this next team. So it's the Atlanta Talonflames. What are your thoughts on this team?
Mascot pick, loves the mascot pick.
Yep, gotta love it.
I'm not sure what to think about this team.
I thought it was pretty interesting. So they have pretty good speed control, right? They have like Prankster. Well, I guess it's not technically Prankster. It's Gale Wings, Tailwind from Talonflame. They have Trick Room from Galarian Slowking. So like they have some speed control there. Yes, true. Uxie has it as well.
They have Gale Shot, Garchomp.
Yep.
They have Grassy Glide. They potentially have Rain Dance. Toad? Whatever its name is.
Seismitoad?
No, not Pop. Yeah, Seismitoad. Thank you. And they have just Flame, which is really fast, Zoroark, which is really fast, Circuitry with Beast Boost, and also really fast.
Circuitry actually isn't that fast. It's like 70-ish speed or something like that.
Oh, wow. I thought it was faster.
No, it's fairly slow, but that's one of the ways that you kind of deal with it. But with Tailwind, of course, it gets that boost, and then you're super fast.
And then it just goes crazy.
Yeah. But I thought this team was pretty cool because they have some very, they have a nice mix of offenses. So they have like very powerful physical attacks from like Bulu and Garchomp. And then they have really powerful special attacks from like Circuitry, Galarian Slowking. Yeah, Zoroark. Zoroark is mixed, I think. But yeah, it does have very good attacks.
Special.
What's that?
Usually see it special. Another interesting thing is how will they use Illusion in doubles?
I know, it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, Zoroark, I think, is a really nice pick for this team because there are some things that, like, you kind of want to bring a specific type against it. Like, Circuitry, you probably want to bring your ground type in there, right there. And so if Zoroark is illusioned as Circuitry, then you can get
Zoroark
knockoff.
Does get Grass Knot, so it's like, what are they going to try and illusion it as Circuitry and Grass Knot?
Yep.
That will be interesting.
Yeah, so there's some cool things that this team has. I kind of like it overall.
And Garchomp is just Garchomp.
Yeah. One thing I maybe don't like about the team as much is that, like, Garchomp, well, I guess it depends, right? They have Garchomp and they have Grassy Terrain, which normally I would say is a non-bow, right? Like, you probably don't want to have both of those things. But because you're building for singles and doubles, you might end up using Stomping Tantrum on Garchomp more than you use Earthquake. Just kind of depends on how Joe DeFlamin wants to build his team.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
And I guess we've got him Talon Master J now because he did change his name.
Oh, true. Yeah. Thinking about his old name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the team is pretty solid. There's a handful.
Another thing they might do is say, like, well, Garchomp and Bulu kind of fill the same role of just being a physical breaker, so that's not going to bring both to the same match because it would not help.
Yeah, because they'd end up filling the same role. That makes sense. Yeah. Although they do break different stuff. You know, like Bulu really wants to break those water types, whereas Garchomp really doesn't want to deal with them at all because they're probably packing Ice Beam. I don't know. The team is pretty cool overall. I like the mix of offenses. I like the mix of speed control.
But if you do need to deal with water types, you do have Circuitry. You have Slowbro, which gets Grass Knot. You do have ways of dealing that are not Bulu.
Yeah, no, totally true. I think like even Seismid has like Power Whip and stuff like that. So there are options. Right. So, yeah, pretty cool team, I think. A nice kind of mix of like both singles and doubles mons here that I think would be pretty good for both formats. Yeah. Okay, let's look at our next team. This is the fourth pick of the draft, and we have the Brooklyn Mintykes. So I thought this team was really, really cool. I was very sad, so I'll talk more about my team later on, but Ribombee was a snipe for me that I was very sad about. But I think the mon is really nice. I was looking at its different options for support moves, and it has like Tailwind that you can't fake out because of its ability. Has like Speed Swap as a really cool option too. So the team is pretty sweet, in my opinion. There is one... well, I think New covered it fairly well. But like both Como and Scrafty are like 4 times weak to Fairy. Yeah, to Fairy. There is a double steel type on the team, and you do have Nihilego, and I think Nihilego is amazing against fairies because oftentimes fairies are special attackers, and like Nihilego has an amazing special defense stat. So I think that Pokemon is really nice to have against this for this team to kind of fight those.
Ironhead with Berserker.
Yeah, of course. Like you have. Them. Yeah, I mean, oftentimes I think fairies are also running, or at least have the option to run fire coverage, so steels can get kind of hit off there's some kind of prediction, but like Nihilego doesn't care about that at all. I think it's a very good fairy killer, so I think it's nice to have for this team. But that is kind of a notice, is that there are those double 4 times weaknesses from kind of fairly important mons from, I think Como will probably be used more often in the singles matches, and Scrafty probably use them more often in the doubles matches, so they kind of fill slightly different roles. But I think Nihilego is really nice to have against those, because it is going to be a huge threat to those fairy types. I don't know, what do you think about this team?
I respect the too wishy-washy.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I know Noob loves this Pokemon. Absolutely loves it. I think I've seen him draft it like 4 or 5 times at this point. Like, he's a big fan.
I think Swubat is a really underrated choice in draft. I think it's fantastic if you get it set up, and it's not very difficult to do. It has Roost and just Calm Mind makes it extremely bulky. And Tailwind will make it even easier to set it up from you. There's no redirection, I don't think, but Urbambi does get Ally Switch, so you have that option, I think.
Yeah, it might have it. I think a Rengaru might have Ally Switch also. So there are some of those options.
Rengaru, I think, is really fun in doubles with Instruct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you imagine instructing Calm Mind? You just get +4/+4 in one turn.
Oh, with like Swubat?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. It also gets Trick Room, so you can use it in both doubles and singles just for that. But you don't really have slow offense besides Berserker, so maybe not.
Yeah, that's a good point, huh? The team is mostly fast.
Mew does have the home moveset, so it gets access to everything if we get in singles, so just the unpredictability of Mew make it difficult to prep against because it's Mew. I don't really think I have anything else to say.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny throughout all of this. I don't think either one of us mentioned Landorus Therian, which that Pokemon's obviously amazing as their first pick. But it's kind of nice that it has fairly good options for both singles and doubles. It's a format all-star, I think, in both of them. So I think it's a really nice first pick.
Yeah. I didn't think we need to mention Landorus Therian. I think everybody knows what it does.
Yep, yeah, no, but I think it's kind of cool because it's one of those mons that you can kind of build a set that's going to work in both formats. Like, I think even just like an Assault Vested set with...
Earthquake.
Yeah. Rock Slide, Earthquake, U-Turn, Knockoff. Yeah. With like an Assault Vest is probably good for both. Yeah.
Yeah, Assault Vest, Leftovers, Yachi Berry.
Yeah. So I think that's like a really nice pick to have.
Thing you do want to be careful of is a quad weakness to ground on Nihilego, but
yeah, that's actually another quad weakness I completely forgot about. And there's the quad weakness to ice for Landorus. So there's definitely some like moves that are going to be gunning for this team. Like, people are probably going to bring ice coverage, they're probably going to bring fairy coverage, and they're probably going to bring ground coverage.
I mean, you also have double steal, so
yeah, I mean, Lucario doesn't resist it, but yeah, I totally agree with you. There's double steal and there's a fairy type, so like there are ways to fight against, a poison type, so there are ways to fight against those fairy types that people are definitely going to bring to this team. Yeah. Anyway, let's go and take a look at our next team here. The San Antonio Sandslashes. I think I'm talking about this team first, if I remember right.
Knows.
Yeah. I don't know, this team has a lot of different modes. Like, I look at this and go, okay, we have Chlorophyll Venusaur, Swift Swim Ludicolo, Sand Rush Dracovish. Like, all 3 weather modes are on this team. And
what Dracovish are you saying exactly?
Oh, sorry, Dracozolt. Yeah, so there's 3 different weather modes on this team, which is definitely something you got to be aware of. They potentially clash with each other, but it also gives the San Antonio Sandslash an opportunity to kind of bring the one that they most like for the matchup. And they do have ways of setting all 3 of them. Like, I know Klefki has Prankster, Sunny Day, a Selgor with Unburden can be super fast, and I know it can set Sandstorm. I think it also has Rain Dance as an option.
Let me check Klefki's moveset. You can keep talking.
Yeah, double check that one. And they of course have like Unburden with Driftblim and like even Tailwind with that mon, so that's kind of a nice option for speed in doubles games. I think this team might struggle a little bit with like Trick Room. Most of their team is really fast, so they're kind of have to rely on the bulk of like Audino and like Girder.
So
in the
Klefki
Trick
does
Room
get
options.
Sunny Day and Rain Dance, but not Sandstorm.
Okay, I know a Selgor gets Sandstorm, so that's an option to set. You
could also just use Hustle in Electric Terrain.
Oh, true. Yeah, I mean, Hustle, Electric Terrain, Boosted Bolt Beak sound terrifying. Like, that is not something I want to prep against, you know? Team looks crazy from that way.
No, it's not.
Yeah, so their team looks really solid. There is the double fire types, which I'm not too big of a fan of, and in this format, Cinderace's Blaze Only Libero is banned for this format, so Cinderace is always a fire type, Rapidash is always a fire type. I think those two kind of clash to a certain extent. They're just kind of fast,
I don't think
frail.
Anybody was questioning Fire Dash's typing, but...
So, like, I just think that, in general, the two of them maybe clash a little bit, and I don't necessarily know if you'd want to have both of them on the same team. So that's just a critique of the team that I don't think is too exciting.
I don't think that you needed Rapidash. I think it is just Cinderace minus.
Yeah.
It's less coverage. I think it's lower. It definitely has less attack. So, yeah. Just Cinderace minus. So, yeah. I feel like you're putting a lot of burden on Klefki if you're going to be running double weather. I don't think you bring 3 weathers to one match, but
that would be crazy.
I have run double weather before. It can work, but it's going to put a lot of pressure on Klefki. Tapu Koko is Tapu Koko. And I mean, if you're gonna boost anything with Electric Terrain, it may as well be just ridiculously powerful Hustle boosted Bolt Beaks, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it also gets what's it called, the electric move in the Isle of Armor, because it could be special.
Oh, Rising Voltage.
I think it gets that.
I have no idea, but it's got strong electric moves like that. Yeah. That's probably something. I think that's the biggest thing that comes out for this team. Is
it has 100 base attack, 70 base special attack. If you want to, you just run the off-meta special Draco's ult. You could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it gets.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty sweet team. I think that it's probably the of the teams we've looked at so far, I think it's one of the less predictable ones. Like, you really don't know which weather you're going to be going up against. It's got that nice speed control. So I think in the doubles matches, a way to fight against this team is just bring Trick Room, because you're probably not beating its fast mode. You're probably better off playing a slow mode against it.
One thing is that I don't know that you don't have reliable recovery besides Venusaur's Chlorophyll and Coco's Roost and Ghost Balloon's Roost, I forgot its name. So you are going to be relying on Audino's Wish a lot.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Yeah, this team kind of dies to chip damage, and that is a problem.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. So, anyway, let's go and take a look at our next team here. Ah, yes, the LA Lucarios. What do you think about this team?
Incineroar is definitely one of the best Pokemon in this format. It is still the king of doubles, and it is really good in singles. It's really strong. It has Intimidate. It has Fake Out. It has Parting Shot. You can run Choice Band. You can run it Leftovers. Citrus Berry is so good, so versatile. I think it will definitely be the MVP of this team. If it is not, then I'll be really surprised. Vidicott is also really good. It, of course, has Prankster Tailwind. Just lost my train of thought. Gladius is also really good, and it's a nice complement to Incineroar. And it's a fast special attacker, and I think it'll work really well. I'm gonna question Vanillix. I don't know where Hail comes in. By just being a really strong special attacking ice type, but You do have a quote-unquote trick room mode with Larian, Slowbro, and Self. Skarmory is nice if you want to go hazards. I don't know how well it'll do in doubles. I'm not sure how viable it is in doubles. Bisharp is scary as ever in singles. You do have a sort of Rain or Sun core who is Whimsicott, Incineroar, and Heliolisk. And Phalanx, if you can get another retreat up, I guess, is decent. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's some cool options here. I think this team is like very much like designed for doubles to a certain designed for doubles to a certain extent. Like Incineroar or Whimsicott are like some of the best Pokemon in that specific format. Gastrodon, I think, is amazing for.
They're also incredibly good in singles. So.
Oh, totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. I just think that like those two mons, when you think about where is their best format, it's definitely doubles. But yeah, so there's some really cool options for this team. I think the comment about Vanillix, like I agree, like it would be nice to see some kind of Slush Rush Pokemon on the team. But just in general, like being able to set Aurora Veil is really nice. Getting some weather switching for like the last team we played against to kind of change their weather, so you don't need to worry about sun or rain.
For Beartick if you want that.
Yeah, definitely an option if you want to do something along those lines.
Too much to the team.
Yeah, I think we mentioned
have a Rain Core as well because it does get Swift Swim. When they can't get the Rain Dance, and Heliolisk has Dry Skin. Wanted that.
Yeah, there's definitely some cool options here. One thing that's also nice about Incineroar, from kind of similar to what we were talking about for Landorus Therian, is that I think the moves that you can run for Incineroar are kind of the same for singles and doubles. So you can run kind of like...
Run Flare Blitz, knock off, some sort of switch move, whether it's Parting Shot or U-turn, and then coverage.
Yeah, and then like, a coverage move or like Fake Out or something like that, yeah.
Fake Out, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of got some nice options for either one.
As well, you kind of run the same stuff. You'll probably run Trick Room, you'll run Psychic, you'll run Sludge Bomb, and Flamethrower, Ice Beam, whatever. Pretty similar moveset, tingles and doubles. Same thing with Bisharp, you have Knockoff, Sucker Punch, Iron Head, Swords Dance.
Yeah, fairly similar for both formats too. So that's kind of a cool thing about this team, is that it does kind of have good options for both formats. For Pokemon that are kind of going to run the same-ish kind of stuff, which is very cool. I think it's a very good, nice look for the team. So, okay, let's go and take a look at the next team. Ah, yes, the Sacramento Sandslash. I wonder who coaches this team. They must be a really cool person.
Yeah. I've never seen this team before.
I'm going to let you chat about this team, because I plan on doing my own draft analysis, so I'll talk more about it then. But yeah, give us your thoughts.
I love Melmetal. It's a fantastic Pokemon. It's really strong. Double Iron Bash is fantastic. Now give it Dragon Dart's properties. Let it hit both Pokemon in doubles.
Wait, is that it? Can it? I thought it only hit one. Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying do it. I'm saying do it. That would make it broken, but I would love that.
That'd be crazy.
Gyarados is Melmetal, but it's flying type now.
Yeah, like really hard to switch in on.
Yeah, it's flying type Melmetal. It's fast, frail Melmetal. Latias is a really good special attacker. Rotom Heat is Rotom Heat. It's a fantastic pivot. And is a nice immunity. A double Levitate is not really necessary. I guess you have Melmetal, but that's your only real ground weakness. Because Rock is not bulky by any stretch of the imagination. Aromatooth, I think, is fantastic. It has Wish. It has decently strong Moonblast. It does a lot of stuff. Really, what it does really well, and what it does is really helpful. Blizzard you could use for spikes and toxic spikes if you wanted to. You want to go that way. Otherwise, you could just run a really strong Leaf Storm Sludge Bomb. Crocodile has Intimidate or Moxie, both really good abilities in both singles and doubles, so
Yep.
curious to see how you'll use that. And also curious to see how Moxie will work in the 4v4 format.
Yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, I don't see any crazy synergies or anything like that, so... Anything else you want to add? Anything that I missed?
No, just... I agree with a lot of things that you said. I'll do a more in-depth dive, because I have an idea of how exactly the team's going to work and different stuff, but who knows how it'll actually be able to play out in games. One thing that I picked Melmetal and then Galarian Zapdos 1 and 2 because I knew that I wanted the Defiant option, because almost certainly people are going to bring Intimidate against Melmetal. You can't look at 140 something attack.
We saw Milotic earlier was competitive. That could also be interesting.
Yeah, I think there was another team that had Defiant Bisharp too. I think it was the one right before this. So I think those kind of abilities are... Well, I mean, Intimidate is very, very common for doubles matches. So having a competitive or Defiant option is really sweet.
Just how you use Crocodile and Roserade. They could definitely be used in different ways for singles and doubles.
Yeah, they have a lot of build diversity, which I think is really nice. So, yeah. I don't know, I'm a big fan of this team. I've never drafted Mr. Rem before. I don't even think I've ever seen it played, so I'm really excited for that one. That's probably the Pokemon I'm most excited about on this team, just because I've never used it before and never really seen it used, so I'm excited to explore that Pokemon this season during building. So, yeah. Alright, let's go and take a look at the next team here. We have the Nashville Nidokings. And I'll go and chat about this team to start off with. One thing that is really cool about this team that at least jumped out to me right away was the multiple immunities. So you have Water Absorb on Mantine, you have Flash Fire on Chandelure, and you have Volt Absorb on Jolteon. So some really nice immunities that I think is going to be pretty solid to have.
Blue is Fairy typing.
What's that?
Blue is Fairy typing, Sack Attack Steel typing. Mantine's Flying type.
Yeah. So you have some... Yeah, that's true. You have some of the immunities just from typing, but I was thinking of the ability immunities, which is pretty cool. But this team is really nice because it has a solid fast mode. The Jolteon with, even if you wanted to go quick feet, could be amazing. Unburden Subtiles, I guess Unburden Aselgor's faster, but aside from that, there's not much faster than Unburden Subtile.
Burden Hawlucha?
I think actually Sceptile's faster than Hawlucha, but yeah, I get the idea. They're just very fast. And then of course the terrain to back it up. Yeah, and then there's also the Trick Room mode with Stack Attack and Porygon 2. That's obviously amazing, as well as Dragalge and that slow Trick Room mode as well. So some pretty cool options there on this team. I don't know, what do you think about the team?
Is there a Sandslash on my screen?
Yeah, the Sandslash feels very out of place. It kind of feels like it was picked up very early, but it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot here that really synergizes with it.
Tyranitar or Hippowdon or Gigalith afterwards, and it's okay, yeah, you have a Sand Core. It's I just the weird thing is that it's your strongest physical attacker as well. Is not good.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think it's a very special heavy team. The only other physical attackers would be Stakataka and what's it called? The Rude.
What's the
Graplocked?
Graplocked. Yes, thank you. So there are some other physical attackers on the team.
Yeah, but
Sceptile's often a physical attacker, even though I think its special attack is a higher stat.
Oh, it's special.
Yeah, so there's definitely some options, because you definitely have to be concerned about Stakataka. That Pokemon is not something you can sleep on. But then you also look at some of the really high special attacks from Chandelure and Tapu Lele and Dragalge. And you really need to be concerned about those as well. But I think the mix of offense is okay for this team. Like, I think there's probably 4 big physical attackers that I'd be concerned about between Grapplox, Sandslash, Stack Attack, and Zarude, and then probably 4-ish special attackers between Lele, Chandelure, Dragology, Jolteon. Yeah. So I think there's an okay mix.
I really like Psychic Terrain on the team. You don't really have priority, so having the immune to it is definitely not bad.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think Chandelure gets Expanding Force, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, does it really? That's a nice combo. I did not know about that.
It might. Chandelure.
Yeah,
never
cool
mind.
option.
It does not.
Oh, unfortunate. I like there are double grass types on this team. I don't know if it's necessary to have both of them. So it would be kind of cool to get like a.
Honestly, I just kind of saw the root as a dark type, not as a grass type.
That's a good point too. And like the Sceptile definitely has a place on this team as an unburdened like a sweeper. So
even as grass types, they serve very different purposes.
Yeah, I guess one is a bit more of a pivot and one is more of a finisher.
Jungle healing is gonna be nice in doubles because it does heal your ally.
Yes, and removes the status effect, which is also really good too.
Yes, so that.
Yeah, some pretty cool options for this team.
Yes, the root is decent in singles, and jungle healing is great in doubles. So I'm curious to see how they'll use that. But I think let's move on.
Yep. All right, next team is the Barcelona Malamads, and okay, so this is Fiac, one of our mods for the TGR, and I mean, you gotta love the first pick Malamar.
Mascot.
First pick mascot, like
mascot.
Yep, like I saw that and I was like, yes. He actually did it in our other league too, so there'll be another video coming out. It's either before or after this one. I don't know which one I'm gonna do, but that's for the Mythical Mayhem, so definitely go check out his team over there. He also first picked Malamar there as well, so yeah, pretty cool to see him draft that one right off the bat. But yeah, I guess I'll start chatting about this team. This team looks pretty sweet to me. Like, there's the Sand mode with Excadrill and Hippowdon. We have a slow mode with like Comfy. I think Comfy. Oh, I guess Malamar also has Trick Room, and Celebi might have it as well. So you have like Trick Room setting up for like Cursula to go absolutely nuts. I think that Pokemon's special attack stat is kind of insane. I want to say it's like 130, 140, something like that. And then of course you have like a really powerful physical attacking stat with Excadrill, as well as some really nice setup options with Tapu Fini and Excadrill or Celebi. Some nice ways to hit multiple types with like the water ice typing of Lapras. So definitely some cool options here.
The first thing I'm noticing is it seems to be really, really difficult to break. Tapu Fini gets Calm Mind, Iron Defense. That is definitely a set.
Yeah.
Comfy can heal the entire team. Double gets Cotton Guard and Fluffy. Hippowdon is just really bulky in general. It gets Slack Off. Celebi gets Recover. I think Lapras gets a healing move. Are you wrong about that?
I don't know if it has any self-healing. Nice mon, but I don't think it has like recover or anything like that.
It is bulky, and it will have floral healing support, so...
Yeah.
The first thing I'm noticing is that... the first thing I notice is Sandslash, Hippowdon. The second thing I notice is it's going to be really difficult to break.
There's also the option of Perish Song on this team that I didn't notice at first. But like you have the Perish... I think it's Perish Body from Cursula. You have Perish Song from Lapras. There's no way to trap them in from a double standpoint, but that could be a nice way to end the game in doubles.
Whirlpool?
Yeah, I guess you have Whirlpool. I was thinking of like, there's no Gothitelle or something like that with like Shadow Tide, for example. So.
But I think that there's a really good balance of having a really, really difficult to break team and also being able to do a good amount of damage with Calm Mind, Fini, and Excadrill, and Body Press, Double, and Scented Scorch can do damage, Palmar can do damage, so yeah, I think the bouncer is really good.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool team. So, okay, let's take a look at our next one here. The Middle Village Pie Doves. And Yeah, this team is very bulky. It looks like it's just going to be kind of a hard to break through team, but it also doesn't have a whole lot of damage output.
Psyduck can do damage. Celesteela can do damage. Oxycrow can do damage.
Sure, but like take a look at the last team that we looked at with like some of the attack stats.
Malamar.
Exactly, that have like, well, Malamar doesn't have that big of an attack stat, but like,
but it has a contrary superpower.
Yeah, totally true. I guess I'm thinking of like just from a base level of like who's has the most immediate offense. I think on this team the most immediate offensive threat is like
Zydog.
Zydog or Entei. I think they're both like around the 110-ish attack stat, but everything else on the team is like 100 or less, and some of them aren't even approaching 100. So this team, I think, is going to be, the games are going to be long. It's going to take a while to break through this team because they have prankster screens as an option. They're going to try to set up, I think, with like Calm Minds on like Clefable, for example. Maybe try to do on Slowbro too. So it's going to take a while for this team to really break through different teams because their offensive output is a little low. And like Celesteela really needs to pick up a KO before it's outputting a lot of damage. But you can't have like Meteor Beam to kind of help to get that going. But even still, like just immediate offense, this team is a little bit lower than some of the other teams that we've seen.
One thing I do notice is this team doesn't have any way to remove hazards, so this might be one of the things where people will bring Stealth Rocks to, because this team can't remove them.
Oh, interesting. I don't think I noticed that when looking at this one. Yeah, definitely agree.
I feel like this battle is going to be just whoever can get more chip damage faster will win.
Yeah, I mean, it is fairly hard to break through this team. They do have a lot of recovery. I think there's double Wishmons between Clefable and Licky Licky. You have Regenerator with Slowbro. Leech Seed with like Celesteela. So like breaking through the team, I think Stabilize, Recover. Yeah. So there's some like healing on this team, but it's just gonna take a while, Anyway, let's go and take a look at our next one here. We have Atletico De Marwell. What do you think about this one?
Okay, it's a mascot pick.
Oh no, there is no mascot pick.
That's why I thought you were.
Yeah.
I think Kyurem is a really good first pick. It is really good in singles and really good in doubles.
Yeah.
Tangrowth is also quite good. Regenerator will be really nice in singles. Otherwise, you could just use it as a bulky thing in doubles.
Mm-hmm.
Wailord's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Very high HP stat, but aside from like maybe Scarf Water Spout, it doesn't excite me as much as some of the other things on this team. There's also double ground and ghost types between Palisade and Golurk. I was kind of surprised to see both those Pokemon picked up together.
Not double ground and double ghost, it's double ground ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, so kind of interesting to have both of those mons on the same team here. But yeah, I don't know, it's got some very nice physical offense, it's got some really nice special offense, so it's nice from that side of things.
Screens with Morgrem.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree.
Let Zeraora go down so far.
Yeah, Zeraora being picked up so late was kind of surprising to me too. I guess people didn't value it as highly, but I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty solid for both formats.
Fantastic singles mon, and it can do, well, it's not legal in doubles usually, but it can do some damage. It has like 110 base attack.
Yeah, no, it seems like it would be pretty solid, so it's kind of nice to see it picked here. I'm kind of interested to see how it does, because it does have very nice coverage. It's got different, I don't know how much utility it has per se, but it's got some momentum too. I think Fake Out is kind of nice for doubles if they want to run that.
Last season in Mythical Mayhem, people really didn't pick the Mythicals as much as the Restricted, so it's interesting to see that carrying over to Masters as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think this team has a nice mix of offensive types. like I said, special and physical offense. So some definitely some cool options here.
It has some good defenses. Palisand, Morgrim, Angler.
Buzzwole can be defensive as well. So
I always forget that Rocky helmet set.
Yeah, I can definitely put in some work. All right, let's go and take a look at our next team here. The Boston Badoofs.
This team will. If this team will win just because their mascot is Bidoof, but we can talk about it anyways.
Yeah, I thought the team looked pretty solid. I think it's got some nice. It's got some nice speed control. There's Trick Room on a couple of mons here. They have Tailwind from Noivern. I think Frisk is going to be kind of nice as well.
Does Zapdos get Tailwind?
Not sure about that one. I know Noivern does, but I don't know about Zapdos.
Noivern definitely does.
Yeah. They do have Prankster T-Wave as well from Grimmsnarl, so they have that as...
And Prankster Screens.
Yes, Prankster Screens. Yeah, and that's kind of a nice part about Grimmsnarl too, is that you can run kind of the Prankster screen set for both singles and doubles, and it's going to be useful for both games, which I think is a nice option to have as well.
Gonzi, I think, is a really good one in singles. Not as much in doubles, but can still put in some work. On the other hand, Metagross, I think, is the opposite. It's fantastic in doubles. I don't think I have to explain that one. In singles, it's not quite as good because it's slower, and it still has a really strong bullet punch, Meteor Mash, Earthquake, so you have to use it.
Yeah, definitely.
I really love Arcanine as an Intimidator for some reason.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's great to have here as well.
Flash Fire. I don't think they'll use Justified. Do have Queenly Majesty, which here's how they'll use that. That is Fake Out Immunity.
Yep. Yeah, definitely a nice option to have for those games as well. Yeah, I think it just has a nice mix of like offensive mons, defensive mons, speed control, tempo control.
I think the most useless lightning rod I'll ever see.
Yeah, you kind of look at Togedemaru does kind of feel out of place here. Like it doesn't like there's already some fake out support, so it doesn't seem like it's as
electric
important.
type. There's already a steel type, and you don't need lightning rod.
Yeah, I agree. Like Togedemaru, I think is probably the. I think at the team it feels the most out of place. Everything else feels like it works and synergizes kind of nicely together. But I agree, Togedemaru is like, what are you doing here? But even still, like it does have some nice tempo control. You could go for like maybe discharges on Zapdos and kind of boost its. I don't know how good of the special attack that Togedemaru has. I think it's mostly physical.
Physical attack.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I think it's a very cool team.
Just for the spread damage.
Yep. Yeah. All right, let's go and take a look at our. I think this is our last team. No. We have two. This one and one more. I think. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, this team I think looks pretty solid as well. It's got a very nice fire, water, grass core to start off with. Like really good priority, really good setup. Very good like mix of physical and special offense. Victini being able to do either one. Really when being physical, Blastoise being mostly special. So it's kind of like some good options there. Nice mix of speed control as well with like Unburdened Slurpuff, Tailwind Crobat, and Trick Room from Cofagrigus. So yeah, some really cool options I think for this team in both formats from speed control and offensive threats. Some nice defense as well between like Cofagrigus being really bulky, Vikavolt being a pretty solid defensive mon, Blastoise being solid defensively, Mudsdale, yeah, I agree. So there's some cool options for this team. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't think I can really add anything to what you said. I think you hit all the big stuff. Pangoro does get Intimidate, right?
No, Pangoro has Scrappy, Iron Fist, and something.
Right. It should have Intimidate.
It feels like it should have Intimidate. Totally agree with you. It looks like it'd be scary. I'm scared of it. Like that thing hits hella hard.
Tyrantrum has Rock Head Smasher. You could go Dragon Dance. It's gonna be really strong. As Victini, you could just break through physically frail Pokemon with those two.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is one where you don't have to worry about grassy terrain ruining your ground type because Meizong gets high horsepower.
Yep.
Run that anyways because doubles.
Yeah, you'd probably want to run high horsepower most of the time. Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty sweet team though. It doesn't feel like there's any weak link. Like probably Glaceon is the least powerful Pokemon on this team, but it also has. Yeah, I mean it has the same special attack stat as like Kyurem. Obviously not as bulky, but same special attack stat. Also has freeze dry. So like.
And I do like Glaceon in this team because freeze dry is a really good way of getting rid of water types, and your only other really good ways of getting rid of water types are Rillaboom and electric moves on Victini.
We also have Vikavolt here.
Oh.
But it is nice to have those as other options too, because most of the time, I imagine, like probably water or dragon types
tend to be good because people don't draft to deal with ice types.
Yes, yeah, I agree. So I think Glaceon is really nice here. I would say it's the weakest link of the team, but it's not even a weak link, So I think the team looks really solid. Good. Yeah, nice mix of like physical and special attacks on this team too. So definitely a team to be scared of because it doesn't feel simple to prep against.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, let's go and take a look at our last team here. So we have the Trash Town Thievals. And yeah, I think I'll go and start off on this team. I remember looking at this team and thinking, yeah, and I still have those same thoughts. It's like physical offense like crazy. You got Tyranitar, you got Dracovish, you got Kartana, you got Machamp, Obstagoon, Luxray. Like all of these Pokemon are physical. So like Intimidate is going to be really valuable, which I think is where Obstagoon is going to become very valuable with Defiant. And like, yeah, I mean, aside from that, like the team is very physically oriented. So
you do have competitive Meowstic.
That's also true too. Yeah, so I guess we have Defiant and competitive on the team. Yeah.
Also have neutralizing gas with G-Weezing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Katana dropping down so low is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was picked up fairly late on in the draft. But, I mean, this team is just, like I said earlier, just feels like it's very physically oriented. So there's not too much to be scared on from the special attacking side.
Yeah, and it's also really fast. You just bring Trick Room, and I guess that's what Dusclops is for, to reverse Trick Room, but...
Although this team can do fairly well, I think, in Trick Room. Like, Tyranitar isn't super fast, so you could run it in Trick Room. Machamp is also... Mm-hmm. Yeah, Claydol could either imprison it for those doubles games, or reverse it, of course.
I feel like this team doesn't want to be in Trick Room. It just has a couple of Pokemon that can be in Trick Room.
Yeah, I think it very much depends on the matchup. I think there are some Pokemon that want to be in there. Like, I think Machamp really wants to be in there. I think actually Tyranitar, for the most part, wants to be in Trick Room as well. Matchup dependent slightly, but I think there's always the, like, Bulldoze.
Not Machamp, sorry. Tyranitar can Dragon Dance.
Yeah, that's very true, too. That's very true as well. But I think, like, from a double standpoint, you could potentially run, like, a very slow Tyranitar Bulldoze with Dusclops and then get, like, a double attack from Lash Out on Tyranitar, which is definitely an option. Yeah, it feels like it's very physically oriented, so, like, you're definitely going to have physical walls against this team, like 100%. And being able to break those is going to be a little more difficult.
Remind me whose team this is, who coaches this team?
Bishmi.
Yes, I don't know.
Yeah, it's got some pretty cool options, I think. So, we'll see how it does.
I'm just scared that you bring, like, one super physically bulky Pokemon and Intimidate, and this team will just... Oh.
Yeah, potentially. We did mention the Defiant and competitive ones, so like that's definitely something that coaches will love to care about when they prep against it. But
seeing any double Intimidate, so no, that's one saving grace for this team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So so this is the last team. The next slide that we show here is going to be my take on the power rankings. And of course, just like in previous seasons and previous PRs that I've done, Cyber Saber has not seen this list, so they have no idea what my take on the top teams are. And I assume that you'll, just like previous, it'll give me kind of your take on the top teams once we get to that point as well.
And if I have time.
Yep.
I'm leaving from New York on Monday, so I'll see.
Okay, so here it is. So these are my power rankings. And just to clarify, the top team that I have is the Atlanta Talonflames. And then it goes down to the Shadow Ducks at number 7. And then the LA Infernapes down to the Middle Village Pie Doves at the last spot. And now it's the hard part. Trying to remember which team was which.
I'm just going to use the doc.
Good call.
Atlanta Talonflames is...
That's the Garchomp
Seismitoad.
Circuitry.
Yeah. I agree. That is definitely one of the best teams in the draft. I definitely agree with that one being towards the top. Boston Badoofs.
That's
it's trying to find them on the dock. I guess somebody made it horizontal. That's a Zapdos Grimmsnarl team.
Mm-hmm.
This team could be lower down, but maybe I'm just forgetting.
I could see it switching spots with the McChesney Park Slowpokes, thinking about it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that Adam's team is definitely better. The Victini Blastoise team.
Mm-hmm. Well, it just kind of has, like, it doesn't feel like the McChesney Park Slowpokes team has any weak links, whereas the Boston Badoofs, we thought that Togedemaru was kind of a weak link of the team.
Yeah.
Just even from that perspective.
I don't know. I'm just looking at it. I feel like the Boston Badoofs are more like to have a Pokemon not show up to any matches.
Okay.
Which I think gives Adam the edge. And
I can see that. I think the team is still very strong, though. Like, I think it's in the top 5 for sure.
Okay. Salona Malamads was the super strong Excadrill Sand team.
Yep.
Could see that being 3rd place, and Badoofs being 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I think Yak did a really good job drafting.
Yeah, there's some really crazy teams here.
Brooklyn Mantikes.
That one, actually, talking about it, I don't know if I'd place it quite as high. I don't think I noticed the double 4x fairy weaknesses on the team originally.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. I think that one drops down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento Sandslash, remind me your team?
That's the Melmetal, Galarian, Zapdos, Latias.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you biased yourself down.
I notice I tend to do that whenever I make these power rankings. I think it could probably be up there. Like, I'd probably put it over the Brooklyn Mantikes now that, like, we've chatted about the teams a little bit more.
I think the Beaters get a slight edge over you, but yeah, you're definitely better than the Mantikes, I think. The Shadow Ducks was the first team we talked about.
Yeah, that's the Dragapult, Togekiss, Urshifu Rapid Strike team.
Yeah, I think that's a fair placement for them.
Mm-hmm.
LA Infernapes was Shifu. Single striker Shifu.
Yep.
I just look at the dock. Tornadus has this bright and not the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really weird.
It does look very weird, but it's what it is.
This team could probably be higher. I don't see any really weak links with it. Everything on this team serves a purpose.
Okay, I can
but it is a
that.
little predictable, so I could see why you put it there. I think it does go a little higher though. Atletico De Marwell is the Kyurem team with Tangrowth. I think that's fair. Nothing overly exciting, nothing too bad though. I agree. Nashville Nido Kings.
That's the Lele Stakataka team.
Yes. Honestly, Sandslash drops it down a lot. I know it's your mascot, but it's not that good without sand.
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly well supported on this team.
Yeah, it just kind of sits there and doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's good, but not Milotic.
Yep. Then I have the Lucarios, which I think the Lucarios I might have placed a little too low. I think that team might be higher.
The Lucario.
That's the Incineroar, Whimsicott, Latios team. I think that one team could probably be higher.
Just having Incineroar. Where are you? Okay. Yeah, this team definitely goes higher. The Vanilluxe is out of place, but other than that, and failing still. Other than that, the team isn't bad. Just has a couple Pokemon that I'm confused about. So, who put Gastrodon West Sprite in the dock and not Gastrodon East? That is getting fixed.
I don't know. We'll deal with it later.
San Antonio Sandslash
is like the triple weather team.
Tiger's team. Which is right above here. It was a Tapu Koko team.
Yep.
I'm not sure how to feel about the triple weather. And
yeah,
I think
it's hard to say for sure.
Drake result is definitely going to be a strong combination. I'm not sure how to feel about the triple weathers so I'd probably place it a little bit higher, but yeah, I can see why you put it there. Trash Town T-Volt was the last team we talked about. Yeah, I think it could also be in contention for the worst team, but yeah. And then the last team is the Middle Village Badoofs with Celestial. Yeah, it's a really bulky team. Yeah, I think Olram has a very slightly better team. Bishmi, I think Trash Town T-Vols is last, and the Badoofs goes in 15th place.
Okay.
I'll send you my full complete list later if I have time.
Yeah, I'll probably at some point while you were chatting about it have switched over to yours so that people are seeing what your list is. Yes, just so that they have a chance to look at mine and then have a chance to look at yours as well. So yeah, but pretty cool teams this season. I know ranking, at least when I was doing it, was pretty tough. There's a lot of really cool teams here, and part of it is like nobody, like not even me who created the format, really has any idea of how this is gonna look. There's just too much unknown information about how teams are gonna be built, how important the dual formatting is going to be in terms of how people even play the matches, what strategies people bring, and everything like that. So it should be pretty interesting.
I really hope we get to continue this format.
Yeah, I do too. This is the first season of it. It's the first time we've tried it. I think it's going to be very interesting, and definitely going to take feedback on how it goes and what people like, what they dislike. And of course, for all of you that are watching, if you made it this far, we're pretty deep into the video. Give us your thoughts on what you think of the power rankings. Do you agree with our first and last placements and everything in between, or do you disagree? And yeah, let me know if you're really excited for this one. I know I'll be making videos for the channel, so you'll be able to see my perspective. And we actually have several coaches here that normally record their games. I don't know if any of them will be recording for this season. If any do, I'll try to put their links in the description so you have a chance to check them out.
Yeah, I know Townmaster J, the Town Flames team, said he would be doing it on Twitch.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, so I'll definitely have his Twitch link in the description, so you can go over there and follow. I think for Twitch it's following, not subscribing, but you can go make sure you see when he goes live so that you can check out his
if you want to support him, you could subscribe.
Yeah, definitely. He has a YouTube channel as well. So yeah, anyone who ends up recording, I'll definitely put their links in there so you can check out all the different perspectives and ideas on team building.
Way to just join the server and check the creation channel.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm assuming that everyone will be
posting their videos if they are uploading.
Definitely. Yeah, and if you'd like to see some more of the
content of knowing if this comes back next season.
Yep. Yeah, so if you'd like to continue to follow the channel to check out all of the different games that I'll be playing for this season, as well as, again, checking out the different coaches we have for the Masters of Sword and Shield, definitely like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And we'll catch you on the next one.